Hello, 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 hello. What's going on, everybody? We are back. This is Unapologetically Kizomba Podcast with Tanya Mendonça and DJ Galu. We are currently here in Houston attending the Balumuka Festival where we are participating as DJs and teacher instructor. And excuse us in advance because we may get interrupted by people that are passing by and trying to say hi and all that. But we are back. We are back with episodes number 2. And this time we're going to be talking about keeping it 100 or compromise. We'll delve into that topic as far as exactly what we are talking about. This was triggered basically by Tanya's posts that she made a few weeks ago on Facebook, and she shared her thoughts as she usually does on Facebook. And and there was a lot of traction on that particular post and people commenting and all kinds of opinions. So we're gonna discuss that. I'm gonna stop talking now and let uh, Tanya and Galu also say hi and start talking.
Hi, everyone. Long time, we know, but we're here. I'm very excited to be sharing with you guys. So I'm just gonna let Gallo say his hellos, and then we kick off. Yeah.
Hey everybody, Gallo here. As Gallo's already mentioned, and Tanya as well. We're back. Second episode of Unapologetic Kizomba. We have a few more topics to dive into, and let's get right into it. Keep it 100 or compromise. Tanya, what are we talking about?
So I made this post a couple of weeks ago because I read somewhere someone of influence of the culture, or not of the culture, sorry, of the dance scene, like a teacher who had mentioned, he was saying on his social media that, don't buy into this old culture BS. This is just guilt tripping people to, so they stick with Kizomba to make you feel some sort of way. And that kind of triggered me because as far as I'm concerned, if I don't teach culture and or cultural references in my classes, to me it's almost like you're removing my why. This is the spot I found that I can contribute. So however, I am aware that many times this is not what people want to hear about. They want to dance, they want to keep it light, and a lot of the things I hear is that, teaching culture or interrupting a class, it's to talk about these kind of things. It's kind of boring, and it's heavy, and so where do you draw the line? How do you manage that? How do you navigate through that? Because I don't really want to compromise the way I teach and what I think I'm contributing into the. Of course, dancing is a big part of it, but there's a lot more to it. Of course, being from the culture. So how do you draw the line?
Um, the first thing that I want to actually touch bases on this, I kind of had a time. I not kind of. I took some time to look at the post and some responses. I noticed that without insulting anyone, that a lot of the answers were, for lack of better terms, romanticized. Right there, in a sense, people were saying, "Well, you should just stick." I mean, the correct thing to say would be, "Hey, stick to your guns. Just hang in there, and I'll be all right." But that's not the reality. It's a huge contrast from what people say versus what they actually do.
Right.
And furthermore, okay, we all going to cheer for Tanya to stick to her guns, but who's going to feed Tanya? Right?
I need bookings at the end of the day. Yeah.
Go ahead, Gala.
So, but let's rewind a little bit. So,
Mhm.
so you feel that you're basically saying that if you feel that you're gonna be 100 with your comments, that you are not gonna have as much work. That's what you're saying.
Right. Mhm.
Has that happened?
Um, it did come a events where once I used to be invited to teach culture classes and not so much anymore. Or that the organizer does say, oh, keep it brief, no more than 30 minutes, no more than 20 minutes. It went from 1 hour to now 20 minutes and then to nothing. So, people still want of me because also I obviously teach the dancing element to it, and they still appreciate that as part of my work. But that that reference that was something that was so so important for me
Mhm.
has been removed. It had came to occasions. So would I say, did I lost work from because of that? No, but
Not at all. Like,
I am starting to compromise.
okay,
No longer I'm being
hold on.
invited because of that.
Oh, you okay? Okay. Now, here's another question that I another segment that I have for them. We all know the notion of quote unquote, I just want to dance.
Right.
You guys heard that multiple times. We just want to dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that what is that what is affecting that mentality of, if I say we really just want to dance, just want to have fun? Obviously, I think that would affect that would affect the ability of you to talk about your culture if they're telling you, I just want to dance, right? Now, where did that notion came from? Is it something that our instructors imprinted on the students, or is that something that they just came with it culturally, uh, from whatever they came from?
I
Because
think
that affects the ability of you teaching them your culture, right?
right.
If they're telling you, we just want to dance, we just want to have fun, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it's got to do with sometimes without obviously wanting to pinpoint or throw shade on anyone,
Mhm.
but it does happen a lot that there is a lot of the teachers who don't have that background, that culture background behind them. So it
Yeah.
kind of like, if it makes them, I highlights something they're lacking.
Mm.
So it kind of puts me or me or someone of the culture that has that background. So they were like trying to minimize it. Does that make sense? They're trying to like
Minimize.
minimize it to make it look like, oh, it's not really that important. People here just want to dance. So, does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Or
Okay.
am I coming
But then,
across as
Gabs,
confusing?
what do you think is the way to navigate that? If there's such a thing, is there a way to navigate around that? Because quote unquote, I'm not going to, I know that we're always speaking Tanya, but I think that that's happening
Mhm.
across the border
Yes.
with other instructors as well.
Yes,
They're losing work because of that, right? So,
Yeah, so I get what you're saying as far as folks romanticizing their answers in terms of, you said initially, stick to your guns, just do you,
keep
you
it a
always be
hundred,
true with
keep it a
yourself,
hundred.
keeping 100.
Yeah.
But there is that fear of like, will I lose work? Will people not start to invite me? But I think also, I think your initial post is you're starting to be afraid to say something on social media, correct? Not necessarily what you say in class.
In classes as well, but on social media too.
Right. So on social media, so and that's the thing. So yeah, how do you navigate that? How do you approach that? And you said you already started to compromise on certain. Can you share an example of what you started to compromise?
If anything,
Can I take the mic?
sorry. If anything, there was because of that, and because I had some situations where people, promoters mainly, came, said that there was a feedback where people said, Tanya's classes are interrupted by her wanting to talk about this and that and the other. So they decided for me to they asked me, can you just, trying to focus a bit more on the dancing because people get bored and stuff like that, which makes me, guys, you want to understand, I don't, a lot of the time when I teach reference, or when I talk about, it's just little stories that I in a class, for instance, if we're doing a step where we show the shoe, or the shoe off, or we clean the shoe or something, I'll just tell the little story behind, that this happened because this does something the other, or I just make references. And those are the times where people say, oh, there's an unnecessary talk, and then we wasted 20 minutes of the class just by just talking, where we could have been dancing or been practicing. So now I can give you an example, but it came across when sometimes I wanted to share specific things where I think, or sometimes even the meaning of the song. This song is talking about saudade. It's talking about giving context, absolutely giving context to the song I'm using, or a move that I might have used that I want to share, and I think it would add value to the right.
Tanya, I have.
But then and now I'm finding myself holding back more and more, just focusing too much on a dance. And it is like it's killing me inside, because I really think this is really important. And I know that most people that will say stick with it, or but guys, I need work.
I have a question, and this is a piggyback something that we actually comment.
Mhm.
Realistically, like subjectively speaking, that's cultural and history education really matters
Right.
In the Kizomba scene. Remember, when I say Kizomba scene, we all know what we're referring to.
Right.
Because we're talking about a space. When we say Kizomba scene, we're talking, as much as, again, we like to romanticize everything, but we're talking about a space where Kizomba, in my view, my personal view, it became a sport. Like, it became a sport in the sense of, I mean,
Gym.
I see people, not, again, I'm not trying to throw shades at anyone, but this is something that I find it a little bit off with me. I see people walking in into a party, and then they're changing their shoes to put. I feel like I'm about to walk into a football match where I have to put my chin pads. I gotta put my, you know what I mean? That's what I see it. And again, I'm not
You're not pointing
faulting
out.
any. I'm not putting down anybody, but that's something that culturally it does not sink in my mind. My mind sinks in. You walk in, right? You walk in exactly how you walk in is how you're going to party, right? I have yet seen a person walking into a club, or like a mainstream club, and then you decide that, okay, now I gotta put my I'm gonna be twerking. I gotta put my chin pads.
So, well, regarding that, and I
Yeah,
know
well,
we're getting
I
out a
sidetracked
little
it a
bit
little bit.
off
I
topic,
sidetracked it a little bit.
but
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just add a little bit to what you just said. It's like I often use the analogy of like you go into the gym, you bring your bag, you go, you do your workout, and you leave. As to sometimes we approach it in a way that we're going to socialize. We're going to see friends, we're going to see a
Mhm.
couple of people, we're going to talk, and also at some point dance, right? I think usually it's the other way around. How in this festival dance scene, how it happens and all
Right,
that.
right. So yeah, going back to the question is, this is our scene. Our scene is the one where dancing, it's now, it became almost as a sports. So if that's the premises, does it really matter to learn? And I'm just speaking from their view,
You are
from their
absolutely right.
viewpoint. Does it really matter to learn about history and culture
No.
if we're now talking about a place where this is like a sport?
Absolutely right, because I think the three of us, we have this dilemma with the three of us and many of us of the culture that navigate into this, have this whole double life almost, right? Because we
Right.
cannot stop being Angolan, Cape Verdean, or whatever.
Why me?
Whatever you because you're
Did
I
you say
didn't,
that?
I didn't mean like that. Whatever I mean, from Guinea-Bissau or
Hybrid or something.
Like, why me?
I didn't
Whatever.
mean like that.
Okay. All right.
Whatever Palop culture you came from.
Okay, I apologize. I think you just left.
But so we always have this duality that we are constantly trying to navigate through, right? However, and you made a really good point, and something I wanted to mention. Whether we like it or not, guys, we created a new culture. The festival scene is a new culture. It's a subculture, yeah.
Okay.
So here we are partnering for 3 to 4 days, completely different scene from what we do. We have the workshops during the day where you get to meet the people you're going to be dancing. And then the idea is that you practice at night, right? So you have the workshops and you practice at night, and then you have, it's an ongoing 3-day event with a lot of dancing. So we create a subculture which doesn't, again, represent the culture. That's not how we do culturally. We don't do that. Culturally, we go to dress up, to meet friends, to maybe have dinner and dance. Dance is part of what we do. It's not just what we do. As here, the culture, the festival culture is about the dance. It's about the workshops. It's about the dance and everything. So everything else that comes with it. So whether we like it or not, or whether we have this already clarified, and we're trying to maybe force culture into the, just like if
Right.
you were saying,
So I guess that's the I guess
That's
now
the
you
methodolo-
that's the key word.
Right.
We're forcing it. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that they want to.
right,
Right. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's being they're soliciting for that.
right,
Because again, you said that we've created a subculture
right,
in which they already have their ABCDs, and we're trying to but here's the thing. It's very complicated to just boil it down to that.
right.
Well, now that we have a subculture, this is what the subculture is, and either like, and we are forcing the whole culture into it. We're
Right.
forcing that. But then again, if it's not, again, this is me playing devil's advocate. If we don't talk about how did they even get to that place, or teach them how did they get to that place, is there a point? Again, bearing in mind that Tanya and Pechus and I said Pechus, Tanya's another, yeah, Pechus and other instructors that talk about the history, they need to survive, right? They need survive in the sense of they need job, right?
Right.
And part of their job is to actually speak about the culture, right? So how, what do we just leave that alone?
Well, with the risk of the culture gets watered down and eventually disappears, then we wouldn't know who was singing and why he was singing, and why was Paulo Flores writing a carta para mãe. Do you understand? There's so much into it. There's so much beauty in our culture. There's so much left to say
Tanya,
that makes everything so
can I
link
can I
into
just burst your bubble a little bit? I love and understand everything that you said, but you forgot one little point.
they're no
That's
they're
to
not
us.
they're not
That's to us.
I know.
Everything that you mentioned so far, you said us.
It's
It's to
true.
us. That's not. And this is one thing that I actually learned. Ellis, you can attest to that. I learned slightly late. You know, when we hear Lolita, right? We don't hear Lolita. We hear, oh my God, I was at that party. I was at this age. This is what we hear,
Absolutely. It
right?
takes us back to whatever.
So I don't hear Lolita. I hear a memory, and we're trying to get them to hear that memory.
That it doesn't exist.
Like we have something in our heads that we attach it to, like memories, friends, family, whatever we happened to us or whatever we were going through. Of course, music is an excellent vehicle to do all of this, right? It's just that one thing, these people did not go through. Some of the ones that have been in the scene for maybe 10 years have been like, oh my God, this is when I first started dancing Kizomba. So they have those memories or
What's wrong with
whatever.
Rebound Chic?
However, it's to us it's still a new song, and for them it's like, oh, this is a retro song, and we're like, really?
But the thing is, with all of this, right? Yeah, it's okay for people to be like, I don't care about the culture. It is what it is. It's our culture, but they don't have to, like, they're just there to dance, like you were saying a little while ago.
But
Fine.
hold on, Gellers, do not forget what you can say. I kind of have a problem with that part, that our culture becomes like a buffet where they get to pick and choose what's good on it. And no, you know what? I like this part of the buffet, but that part of the buffet, I don't really like it. I'll give you just a slight example. When Tanya's teaching about culture, don't forget what you're saying, Gellers. When Tanya or any other instructor are teaching about cultures, the nuances of, for example, Tarashinha, right? We always say that this is a bird's mate call, right? Is that the correct terminology? That's what it is, right? But we often hear other people that I don't like to say that are not from the culture, because they are now part of the culture.
Yeah.
They're inserted in. We hear them saying, you know what? We say that, listen, when you're dancing Tarashinha, that is not your man or somebody that you're interested in. This is how we perceived you interested in me. That's just what it is. That's how in our
like
culture it
you may
moves.
not want. That's maybe not what you're trying to do, but that's that's what you are, and saying in a different language that you don't necessarily.
And then
understand.
it comes like, no. I don't want that part of your culture. I want to dance the dance. I want to, I want to get all the honey that comes with it, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to get any bee stings on that,
Right.
right?
So
So yeah.
going back, so I think that promoters also need to understand who you're hiring, right? Like you, Tanya, the instructor, have created a lot of different dances, so they may be interested in you because of that. But you also have let people know about the culture, about what is behind translating songs by telling those little stories that you were saying a little while ago. So you're also known for that. So if they're hiring you, one would hope that as a promoter, when you hire somebody to go teach or DJ or whatever, that you know a little bit of their work. Why are you inviting them? Because you just heard that they're good, because they're popular. It was like begs that, but also begs another question:
Mhm.
why are in relationship to the history should culture be taught, right?
Relevant? Is it relevant? Yeah.
It begs another question: why are people in dance? Some people are interested in culture, like, oh, that's they naturally
Mhm.
curious or whatever. Some other people are in the dance because they want to hook up, because they want to be social, want to, they don't have friends, or they just, oh, this is a nice dance, this is a pastime, this is a hobby that I do, so I go around the country or around the world and I dance or whatever because it's a pastime or whatever. So it begs the question, why are people in dance? And I think once you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
specify that, then you
yeah.
are able to pinpoint, like, oh, these people probably wouldn't be interested in them, but there's a segment that probably would.
Gellers, you're 100% right, because we have to also remember that in Kizomba we have a mixed bags of a bunch of different walks of life.
Right.
In the sense of what you just mentioned, why are the reason why a lot of people are walking into the to Kizomba. I mean, we can all attest Kizomba is like what's the word that Kizomba is like Mother Teresa de Calcutta. Is that what it's
It welcomes
It
everybody.
welcomes as much as people are saying we welcome everybody. The damage, the we stay what you will, guys. We accept. We do not. As much as people say that Kizomba is this. Come on, we accept everybody. Kizomba accepts everybody, and because of that like undiscriminatory acceptance, I think also a lot of these people that are coming in, they already have their mind fixed on this is all I want from this, right? As in, you know how some people use dance as a therapy. Part of that therapy might not be listening to Tanya talk about the culture.
Right.
It
Sorry. Part of
absolutely
that therapy,
yeah,
let me
may
Tanya,
not be,
let me get a
and you
body to
can't
body, you know?
blame them for that. It is what it is. I think it's tricky waters to navigate into, really, but I think there's also a market for those people
There is.
that are interested in
So
that.
how do you? My question: how do you separate them? Because at the end of the day, they're all in the same pot, right? There's, if you look at Tanya's post, Gellers, there's a lot of people saying, "No, Tanya, stick to your guns." But where are you guys?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Where are you guys? I'm not, again, not trying to shade anybody, but like I get it. We all want to send the message of encouragement to Tanya, to all instructors out there to stick to their guns. But what, like, are you guys really there all the time when Tanya's and
Booked,
so on
yeah.
are doing these things? You know what I mean? And I get it. You guys have other lives. I get it. I get all that. But we need to be realistic.
And the question remains to, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt,
no,
but
no.
it's a very, very simple. If you have a cultural class with Tanya and a dance class with Dilson Maiza, because he's the new kid on the block, right?
Mhm.
Which one would you go, right? I think it's a very obvious that everyone is going to go to a Dilson, mainly because, again, it's novelty. But even if he was
Not to say that the Dilson wouldn't talk about
of
culture.
course, no. I'm talking about just if it's specified because he's a very great
Now,
dancer and. But you see what I'm saying?
Gellers, you mentioned something very important. So that does the whole teaching culture, is it like a generation? Would you say it's not necessarily where you from, but more what generation are you from? Because we can all attest that I don't believe that Adilson would. We'll use Adilson as an example because
yeah.
he's a youth, a very great instructor, by the way, full of energy.
And he's
And this
here.
kid, he's here. This kid is amazing, right? But my question is, we can all attest that Adilson will not teach, will not dive deep down into the cultural portion as much as Tanya would, right? Now, is that a factor as well?
The age.
Go ahead.
Possibly, I think yes, being one of the oldest in a on the scene, it does give me this. I don't know grandma, but I have been. No, the thing is, and it is a few things, a few
Not
reasons
quite
why I think it
English.
still becomes relevant because I don't want to forget this.
Mhm.
And sorry, don't forget what you were going to say, but um, I am very privileged to say that I was there when Kizomba was born, right? Because I was born before that. So
Mhm.
I experienced that. Then I experienced when Kizomba traveled to Europe. I was there,
Mhm.
as in the discotecas africanas in Lisboa. Like
Mhm.
when it was not commercialized, it was designed for Africans that were living in Lisbon.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Mhm.
And that meant Africans, Cape Verdeans, Angolan, Guineans, and Tomé, doesn't matter. We were just African dancers, and we used to actually call African discotheques, right?
Okay.
I was there. Then, as it started to be commercialized and into the classes of format, and he left the nest and he started to be, teaching to other outside
Globalized,
the.
we'll say.
Yeah, I was there. I was in England at the time, and I was part of that movement too. Then, as he went to Europe, because he started in Portugal, then London, whatever. And then as he started to travel, I was part of that too. And then when he came to US, I was part of that. So you see what I'm saying? I'm very privileged to say I have baggage that
Mhm.
I can talk, attest, whereas maybe someone as young as Dilson might not have.
Okay.
It might only hear, but I experienced them. And I always say, for those who came to my class, I tell my story because my story is the story of many Angolans that went through what I went through, in terms of Kizomba, of
Right.
course, in contest. But something you mentioned earlier that I wanted to touch base on. You mentioned something about I don't remember exactly what the question was, but something to do with why, right? No, it was the pinpoint what you want from the culture and what you don't want from
Get
the
the pick.
culture,
Yeah, right.
right? They have to
A la
pick and
carte.
say again.
Kind of a la carte. I want this, and
You have
this.
a
But
menu, but
not
you
this,
get to
this,
pick.
and that. We're talking about Irishing and all
Right.
that. The truth of the matter is, more and more, we're having all these people going to Angola and going to Portugal to dance with the, because they want to dance with people of the culture. And I think it's important for them to know the cultural, let's
Aspect
say,
of where
rules, ethics, whatever,
Mhm.
if you want to call it like that, because they not aware of this new
the
way
nuances,
of dancing.
the nuances
know?
of
So
okay.
if you are going to dance, I don't know, 5 or 6 Tarashingas with the guy, he will make a move on you. Don't doubt that. He will think that. So I think it's important that you have teachers like myself and say, hey girl, you do what you want here on the festival. Just be aware that if you're dancing with someone of the culture, this will might happen. Now, is it right? It is wrong. That's not my job. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying who, all I'm saying is that this is how it is.
I have a problem with saying
Right.
when we say like it's wrong.
I don't know, but this is very hard.
The reason why I say is
and
wrong.
then as a guy, I'm gonna be vulnerable again. I'm sorry to interrupt, but right now I'm actually saying that because I'm scared of being cancelled. And this is the whole point of this podcast.
No,
I actually said it's wrong, it's right, because I'm like, oh, let me just make
no,
sure that
okay.
I'm not
I'll do it for you.
right.
I'm not. I don't have a problem saying that is wrong. The reason why I have a problem that is saying that is wrong, it's because okay, you have a culture. Whenever there's a culture, it's a set of rules that come with that. Whether if they're good, whether if you might deem them, oh, I like them or not, it doesn't matter.
Right. It does.
It's
It's a fact.
it's that's what it is. You have the choice of taking it in or not. The problem that I have is when you come in and let me customize it how I want it. That's no longer part of the culture. You don't get to customize someone's culture. You don't get to come, for example, let me use a country as an example. You don't get to come to United States and on the 4th of July say, you know what, forget about what was, you know what, I like this and that about the 4th of July. However, I'm only taking this and put this
and I'm
this.
not
You don't
American,
get
so I don't.
you don't get to do that, right?
I agree with that, and I'm gonna use an analogy over here, right? And you just said something in regards to actually I just forget that train thought, but um,
It's
so for example, if some of your students are going to an Angolan wedding,
Mhm.
Are you going to tell some of the guys like, hey, at a wedding, there's going to be all different ages, people from all different walks of life, so all ages and all that. Like, let's say they play a song that you normally sometimes dance the Hashinya with, or somebody that you're interested in. Are you going to tell him that he should do that at a wedding, for example, an Angolan wedding?
You mean how are you gonna tell?
Like, are you going to tell him, like, hey, you shouldn't be dancing the Hashinya?
I think you should,
Yes.
because
Because
Mhm.
it's kind of frowned upon when people go to the wedding
And that's
and
the
you dancing the
Hashinya.
Hashinya thing, right?
Yeah,
So it's the same thing. Like, you may or may not take that information or whatever. Then you go there, but like, but don't be alarmed by the consequences of it.
Right.
thank you.
Now,
To me, that's
it's
the big
the
thing.
same thing. It's the same thing as if you're going to Brazil. Like, hey, okay, I'm pinpointing Brazil or any other country.
Yeah.
You're going to country XYZ, and you're from that country. Be like, hey, don't go to this street at night because you might be mugged, whatever, blah blah blah.
Right,
People are gonna take that information. They're gonna do with it whatever they want. But you warn them. If
right,
they go over there, don't be alarmed by the consequence. If you go there, you actually mugged.
Right.
right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
I do agree with that. It plays in the same. One thing is nobody to tell you what it is,
Right.
and you stumble upon it, and something that you don't like happens.
mhm.
You have you. I feel like, in my opinion, you're within your rights and and plus more of feeling some type of way about it. You are, but when you volunteer to come to this space, right, to learn something, and then after you learn that something,
And that you are
you
learning, and the
decided,
person is telling you,
although I learned it, I will
I choose to
choose
ignore.
to ignore this part, because I have friends, guys, I have friends that I have I roll in conversation about this Tarashina thing, and at times it gets really annoying to me. I try my very best not to, because people say that I'm very judgmental. I am not, but yeah, I have that conversation, and they always wanna somehow. I feel like the conversation somehow to implement in my mind. Yeah, but why can't I do it?
Yeah,
And
like,
the
I
answer
can do
is always
whatever I want.
the answer is always the
Sure.
same. You could do it. You could do it. Just don't come back, because every action, there's consequences to every actions, right? So just don't come back to me saying, "Oh, this guy did this X, Y, and Z while we were dancing." He's doing his job. Sorry to say, guys, he's doing his job.
Right.
According to the culture, he's doing his job.
Mhm.
I know you might not like it, but he's doing his job. And if you don't like it, maybe that's something that is not for you
Mm.
in general.
Tanya,
But again, I guess we were sidetracking a
right.
little bit.
Would you agree?
It's part of the culture
You, Mike.
elements.
But would you agree with this statement? Like, culture is a dictionary that's going to translate certain things that you may not understand. Like, you see Tahashinya or whatever, like, you see the word
Absolutely.
Tahashinya, but like, culture, like, telling you about it gives you the definition of, like, so if you dance this, and this,
Absolutely.
as opposed to just knowing the word. Would you agree to something like that? Where that culture gives you the context, like a dictionary or something like that?
Yes, 100%. It is exactly how I see it. However, we all three of us know there's a lot of segments into it, because it's not just about, like, for the Tarashinga example, right? It's not just about dancing Tarashinga. It's how you dance it.
You know what?
No, there's
Hold on.
more. No, there's
Hold on, Tanya. Don't forget what you're saying. I
sure.
know that we're always mentioning Takashiya. I'm gonna pivot to
It's
a
a big
different.
one for
Hold on.
us.
I'm gonna pivot to a different one that it'll be exactly like Takashiya.
Simba, sure.
Okay. No, not even. How many dances is acceptable in the Kizomba scene? How many dances considered acceptable?
Uh,
Two or three.
2 or 3, yeah.
Two or three, right? FYI, the highest form of flattery and respect to one's in our culture, one dance,
Yes.
one.
One song.
This is very important for a man to show that he's respecting you. He will ask you to dance one song, and then he will walk away, right? But that somehow became No.
Yes.
So, oh my
In
God,
in
he
in,
don't
in
like the
this,
dance.
Oh
yes.
my God, he's
No.
disrespecting me.
Yes.
He didn't like. He could at least suffer there for another two songs and then go away. Not realizing that that's our highest form of respect to you.
Besides, I always say, and I always start my classes, Angolans, at least Angolan. I'm not going to speak about others because I don't know that as much, right? We only dance the songs we like and the songs we know.
Right,
So
focus.
the amount of times I'm dancing with someone and the guy just stops the dance, is like, another song, he just waits because he doesn't like that song. This
Right.
would be considered so rude to stop a dance halfway in a festival scene. If a guy just stops a dance halfway and say, "Oh no, can we wait for another? I'm sorry, I'm not feeling." I don't take offense because I know the reason behind it, and I know exactly what it is. It's just he's not feeling it.
And this is
Do you
exactly
see what
why
I'm
we
saying?
need Tanya to teach you guys of these things. That's part of the culture.
We're gonna show an example, and I'm not gonna tell Tanya exactly what I'm going to do, but I think she's going to understand. Hold on.
Go ahead. I want to
Okay.
see that.
We're doing a practical example.
Okay, I get the microphone. Go ahead.
So we're dancing. Wait,
So,
DJ is changing the song. Like, hold on. Do you like this song?
it is definitely, and that's
Perfectly normal.
the most. I prefer that because one of the reasons I say I actually prefer guys to invite. It just tastes different. One of the reasons I say I prefer guys to invite me to teach to dance, and I don't usually ask guys to dance. It's because I know he's going to probably dance the songs that he likes. So he's going to do the best dance, and it shows me. Me, he could have chose anyone. It chose me to dance his favorite song. Do you know how much that means? Do you see what I'm saying?
Guys, I just thought about something. You see what we're talking about?
No,
You see what guys, I have a question here. You see what we're talking about? This is part of the culture, right?
right?
This is part of teaching the culture. Now, but I noticed something. What we're speaking here, the tarashi and these nuances, it sounds like interesting. It sounds like something that would captivate people, I think. Now, when was Kizomba invented? Who was the thing? How was Semba? That might not necessarily be as interesting. Am I making sense?
Oh
Is
yeah.
that the
Probably
disconnect?
the reason why people think it's boring because we're talking about history
Yeah.
and all that.
Well, but here's the thing. This what we spoke about Tarashinya. It has history portions of it. That's how it used to be. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
that. But I think it's the content of the cultural part
That makes it
that makes it
interesting.
interesting or not.
Yeah.
Because if I
But certain topics are more interesting than
Right.
right, I mean, if I talk about Tarashinya, I'm pretty sure that a bunch of people are gonna right. But
Right.
if I tell you, Angola ritmos, like, oh my gosh.
But okay, so I give
Is
you an
that
example.
it?
I'm gonna be invited to do a Tarashinha class. Do I tell them, hey, by the way,
Don't do it.
right? Should I just go and say, teach the steps, the movement, how it's like, whatever?
Disclaimer. Gallo is against Tarashinha classes.
Tell me how you really feel for the people in the back.
By the way.
Disclaimer. Gallo is 1,000% against
Right.
Tarashinha class. I do not support no whatever.
I actually
However, I've had it once on my festival. Oof. Yes, but
made you
I
feel
do
some sort
not
of
support. I'm just gonna tell you. You can ask me why did I have it at my festival at some point in time, but I do not. I do not approve of having Tarashinha classes. Mainly because they only teaching the dances. They're not teaching what comes along with
okay.
that.
And so you coming to the point I wanted to make, right? It is important to mention about these things, right?
Absolutely.
Well, okay, so should we talk about the 3-song rule? Let's give her another example. Like even if you were dancing Kizomba, is it okay to dance 6-7 songs?
Is there such a rule in Tarashinha, 3-song rule?
This no.
I've never
Tarashinha
seen
is a
it.
no rule.
I've never
It's
seen it.
no rule. Galas, are you okay for me to dance Tarashinha with just a
I've
one song?
never
One
seen-
song. One song with a guy. One song. Am I okay?
This podcast is over.
You see?
So-
Neither of us are.
So yeah,
It would not. It would not end well, right, baby?
It's not even about. Not only that. It's I don't approve the.
And no, the whole
Where I
class
come
thing.
from, Tarashinha is a birds may call.
Mhm.
Period. Say what you will. It's the most form of telling
And
one's
if-
intention.
If both people are understanding what they're embarking on,
Like exactly.
what it
This
is.
is not to say, guys. It's not to say that don't dance Tarashinha or don't do classes of Tarashinha. Just know that comes with something I can actually call ethics. I don't call
The
culture. I call it
Kizomba
ethics.
scene
There's an
does
ethic.
not have any from what I know. We do not have children. We do not have teenagers in the Kizomba scene.
No.
We have adults.
Adults.
And as an adult, this is at least what I learned. There's certain things that you gotta own up to.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just how you
Consequences.
gotta own up to certain things. If you're going to be embarking on something that people told you, listen, this is what could happen, and it does happen. It's no, you knew that that was going to happen. It's pretty hard for you to have a lot of arguments as why it shouldn't happen.
And this goes as far as, when you were mentioned about the wedding earlier, like if you go to a wedding, it doesn't even come to a tarashing. Let's even talk about a lady asking a random guy to dance at a wedding or a pull-up club, things like that, that here is so normalized and is so acceptable. In there, it would be perceived as,
So then, Tanya, I guess, Gallus, what we're trying to tell Tanya that maybe the topic, we're saying that maybe when it comes to culture, it's all about the topic, no?
Yeah, but I have a different question,
Mhm.
or bringing it back. Keeping it 100 or compromise? Which one is it?
How bad? How bad? Here's a perfect, Tanya. How bad? When I say how bad, I mean realistically. How bad would it be in the grand scheme of things? How bad would it be for you to compromise?
um, to me,
Mhm. In the grand scheme of things, we're talking about you need money to pay your bills
Right.
and all of that. How bad would it be to compromise?
it would limit the amount of work I'll probably have. Yes,
You'll have more job if you compromise.
I will have less job. What do you mean?
If you
if I
compromise, you don't.
Yeah, if I compromise, I will have more work. Yes, yes, possibly. Yeah, possibly more work.
More work.
Yes,
Right. So
possibly. This is
how bad-
obviously not guaranteed.
So now the question is, how bad realistically
It's
will it be to compromise?
to me, it's not a
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. To
So-
me, it's not gonna happen. This is my why, guys. To me, right? But to me, it doesn't make. If my why is not serving the community, then I'm not doing anything, right? So
But-
so if I'm no longer relevant, it is one of the questions I ask all the time. Am I still relevant? And what I do is still important, right? And this is my why. This is the reason I want to. I want people to understand. I want people to go to Angola or to a club in a Mongole and dance as an Angolan, know the rules and behave as, and not be judged. Oh, you're okay for a white girl, or you dance good for this, you know what I mean? No, you need to be, yeah, for a foreigner. No, you need to should be able to go there, navigate through this scene freely, and understand seamlessly, and understand that when you are in a festival scene, there are certain ways of behavior that when you go into other uh, I guess like a cultural environment, there's other behaviors, and then guys, these behaviors change from different to a festa de quintal. Yes, like a backyard party, we behave in a certain way. For instance, two women dancing at a day party, it's perfectly fine. Two women dancing in a club, no.
Absolutely.
There is so much that we could talk about. There is a lot and to me, mainly the
If you don't
reason
get to
is,
teach this, what's the point?
what's the point? And also, I think because there's so many, especially women, because let's remember that the festival scene is 75% sustained by women.
Mhm.
Women are the ones who are traveling and buying classes and buying passes and going everywhere. So, especially the women, I want to protect them to an extent and explain what they
Getting themselves into.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, it is an adult world, and people are entitled to do. We do it too. We dance tarashinga too. That's right. We done that. We do that. But just know that comes with certain rules. And I think if that's what gonna I'm being known for, then I'll take that role gladly.
So then I guess
The bearer of bad news.
I guess that the what you're saying is basically, regardless to if you're going to lose work or not, you do not want to compromise.
No.
Right.
I do not want to. No.
So let's keep it.
Let's
I
keep
will
it at
keep it
100.
100.
You rather keep it on.
Whatever.
So, Galas, you already know if Tanya's
How
not
about
bringing.
you?
She's keeping it 100, and her email for bookings is
No, seriously.
No, my bookings is tanya.bookings@gmail.com.
There
If
you go.
that's it's actually my
So there you go. See.
yes. That's the
Book
way.
her.
If you if
Keep it
you
100.
I
She'll
will
she'll
keep her
she'll
100.
she'll keep it at 100 regarding
She'll
the
keep
the
it
the
buck.
the, the culture of Kizoma. So yeah, guys, uh, this is really good, good
I think we may
conversation.
have to do a part two to this because we actually haven't mentioned the ethics. We only talked about the 3 song rule, the Tarashinga contact, but there's so much more.
We're gonna leave that for your culture class. We're gonna leave that to your culture
Right.
class.
Yeah, but part two, but this was really keeping it 100 or compromise.
Compromise.
It wasn't about the ethics
Yeah.
or what about the culture or whatever.
That's gonna be a subject for another. That's going to be
We have 15 more minutes.
that's gonna be as we have 15 minutes. Okay, so guys, there's a few things that we actually wanted to also touch bases for as much as it's sore. You guys noticed that we want to get into the our projects. You guys noticed that we had to cancel the UK
Event.
event. There was reasons behind it. We already explained it. Unfortunately, our main attraction of the event was not able to come. Suffice to say, guys, we are looking for another date, a date that will not conflict with anybody's. Well, it would be a little bit impossible given that there's a bunch of events happening nowadays. But we are
It,
searching for a better date
it will
that
be
it
in
will,
2024.
yeah, within 2024. That is not going to the best of our ability, is not going to conflict with the other events as well, which is going to be a plus. We will be announcing way ahead of time. Just another news for those that have purchased passes. There's going to be a major discounts for those that purchase passes for the very first edition. We're going to be
Yes.
announcing
And the
what will be the
refunds are
discount.
on the way. We are
Refunds are
finalizing
being
those.
Yeah,
So
refunds are being finalized.
look out
Okay,
for those.
those that are being refunded, if you have any questions for future events or anything like that, please reach out to us. We're going to be answering. That's on the front of the UK party. It's still going to come, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to be announcing when it's going to be next year. Just trying to figure out the ins and outs of the perfect and better time to do that for you guys. That's one. The second one is going to be, sorry, I'm kind of monopolizing here. I'm just going to speak a little bit and then I'll give it to Tina so she can take the second one. It's about the merch, the UK merch. We are don't think that we're sleeping on it. We are working on it. We just want to make sure that when we put it out there, it's something that you guys are proud of it. Proud of us, trying to give us a little bit of more insight on what's happening there.
Well, so I thought it would be good to give you options, but if you eventually when we launch it, you will be able to send your own and a sentence of what Kizomba means to you or whatever you want to, your name or what customize it as much as you want, whatever, and you can have your own personalized unapologetically Kizomba t-shirt or merchandise, whatever. So I think that would be very, very good. And yeah, we'll carry on doing the podcasts. So count on us with some thought-provoking topics.
Oh, there's more.
We
coming.
have a
There's
few.
things
It's
coming.
a very hard one to which
Yeah,
which
we
to
gotta.
pick, but yeah, because we're obviously very opinionated, all three of us, with so much to share. Yeah. So I'm gonna pass it to Gallus now to finalize it. But yeah, keep keep following the page. Just quickly, keep following the page. And the YouTube account as well, support. All right, thank
Oh,
you.
smash that like button. Subscribe because we have a bunch of more content as far as the podcast coming. Take it on to Gallus. Take us home, Gallus.
Yeah, since the last time we were here, the previous podcast, Urban Kids versus Kizomba, that created a few waves in
I didn't do anything.
social media.
I didn't do anything.
But yeah, we are here not to be divisive, but to talk about certain topics, to start discussions, healthy discussions, and to actually include and not exclude. That's the goal of this podcast.
Gallus, let me just do, guys. Something that Gallus mentioned for me to remind you guys: if you guys have topics that you guys would like us to talk about in podcast, shoot us a message and we'll just a reminder, something that Gallus told me to remember, so I just have to say that real quick. You guys have topic that you guys want us to talk about it? Trust me, we're not shy to talk about any topic. Send it our way, and we'll dissect it and talk it.
And at some point, we're also going to have guests, so it'll be beyond us three. We're going to include some folks that we feel have some good things to add. And yeah, this is Unapologetically Kizomba Podcasts, episode number 2. keeping it 100 or compromise. So that's it from us. We have a gala to attend to. We have
With Tiago
places
Piedad,
to be,
with Ricardo Lembo,
and
with Chelsea
Chelsea Chantel.
Chantel.
They can't hear you because you don't have
They
a
can,
mic.
they can. I'm sure they can hear me. I'm sure they can.
No, they cannot. I don't think so.
I said with Kiako Kiadaf, with Chelsea Chantel, with Ricardo Lembo. What else do you have? Nilson Mays is in the house. We have Elisa Sala,
Galo.
Tanya Mendonça,
Dyson,
DJ Galo,
Galo, Gala,
DJ Ali
Ali
Neto.
Neto. Oh my God, yesterday the party. Oh my God, the dances were so
Great
delicious.
vibes, great vibes.
Oscar is here.
Great
Guys,
vibes.
it's just absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it. If you have a chance to come next year, do not hesitate. Don't just book it.
Yes, shouts to the Balumuka Festival organization. Thank you
Yes.
for inviting us. It's been great production. It's been great. So, food for thought for next year. If you're not here this year, please do consider to come to Balumuka. I believe it will probably continue to be in Houston. But yeah, we are in Houston, Texas for Balumuka Festival. Yeah.
All right.
Um, yeah, there's nothing to say about that yet.
This will be
So
nice.
she was asking about MPKF. We don't have any news yet, but soon, hopefully. Talk,
Nah,
talk.
well, information is gonna come soon. Right now, we we're just sticking to UK unapologetic Kizomba. I am Gallo.
Tanya Mendonça.
DJ Gellas, we are they here? Oh, she said Tanya Mendoza because you probably couldn't hear her because I'm holding the mic right now. But yeah, sure. This is it. This is us unapologetically. Cheers. We out of
Cheers,
here.
guys.
Peace.
Atenção!